recording again. All right. Let's try this again, shall we? Okay. Can you see my notes now? Is it clear?
Yeah.
All right. Good. And okay. So, yeah, what's the effect here? Well, essentially, yeah, it will affect the diagramming because this is how before I really was aware of this is how I would diagram it. I am not ashamed. And then I would say of the Gospels, a preposition. Not ashamed of the gospel. Why? It is the power of God. Okay, so this is how I would have done it, because I would just say, well, of the Gospels, a prepositional phrase. So I would have diagrammed it this way. But I'd be stuck with a question, well, how is it modifying ashamed? It's not answering really what or why, where, when, or how. So it's like confusing to me. But now understanding, oh, well, ashamed of is really the verb here. So this is a sentence. Here's my verb. I underline my verbs. So my subject is I. My verb is I am ashamed of. And then the gospel is the object. So it's clean. Subject, verb, object. All right. And I think this will help when you sometimes, because you might have this same situation, you'll have this subject and verb, and then it looks like a prepositional phrase, but like you're thinking, oh, I don't really see how this modifies too well. And so if we understand that, oh, maybe this is a prepositional verb, you know, that weird English thing that sometimes verbs will have a preposition as part of the verbal idea. It's not a Greek thing, but it is an English thing. So in this case, this is how we would diagram this more accurately. Understanding that of is part of the verb.
Tim?
Yeah.
I'm looking at my NASB Greek English interlinear. I'm using olive tree. The preposition of is joined with the under the Greek word to.
Okay, here.
So it's different. Yeah, it's different from the way Bible Hub did it. I am not ashamed of is included in just that one Greek verb. But here in my NASB Greek English interlinear, it's put under the Greek word to.
Here, let me
it's of the
I'm going to make you a co-host so you can why don't you share that with us so everyone else can see. I think I know what you're saying, but
yeah, hold on. But it's in my laptop. I didn't open it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Then I will so I will withdraw co-host permission from you then. Okay. So it's something like this is what you're seeing. Let me see. Okay, actually, it's that way on mine too. Let me see if I can. I'll just show this to you on mine, Logos. Sorry for all the delays, guys. I don't mean to. Okay, can you guys see my Word Bible software open here? You guys can see that? Okay, so I think what Pastor Robbie's talking about is, notice it says here, See where my cursor is down here on the interlinear part? For I am not ashamed, and it has ashamed above the Greek verb, and then it has of the gospel in the over the Greek. It has of the over the article. You guys see that? The article's ta.
Yeah.
And then it has, so is that what yours is looking like, Robbie?
Right. Yep. Exactly.
Okay. There's one big problem with that. The interlinear there is wrong because ta does not carry of in its idea.
Yeah,
it's an
right.
accusative form or case. And that accusative means object. You know, in Greek, the accused, there's the nominative case, there's the accusative case, there's dative and genitive. Okay. The nominative case is used for nouns, usually the subject. The accusative case is used for objects in a sentence. Here, ta evangelion is in the accusative case, meaning it's the object of the verb, just like in English. Okay?
Right.
So the verb is this verb, epaiskunomai, which means ashamed of in English. That's how we translate it. So to put of with the article is wrong. Okay? So this interlinear is actually misleading because it's including that idea in the accusative case. Now, if this were the dative case, sometimes it would be okay to add a for or a to or on, because in the dative case, that's expressing that idea. But in the accusative case, there is no of. Of is typically a noun, a preposition of possession. So that's misleading, unfortunately, Robbie. So far with Bible Hub, the interlinear they have, I haven't seen any issues with that normally. As you saw, what I showed you earlier from Bible Hub, it had ashamed of with the verb, and that was correct. Here, again, this is why interlinears can be dangerous. If we don't know Greek enough, we may not recognize or realize, oh, this is accusative of shouldn't be there. That's not correct. Does that make sense to the rest of you guys? You guys following me? Okay. Like I said, maybe down the road we could, do some Greek things together if you want, if that would be helpful. But like I said, in Greek, you can identify an object. That's why I really like Greek, because it really is precise, much more precise than English. So in the Greek, you have these certain cases which tell you this is an object. It's the accusative case, therefore it's receiving the action. And so in Greek, I can clearly see not I am ashamed of, and then the gospel. And I know because of the Greek, the gospel is an object. It's the object of the verb in this case. Right. Now, sometimes you will have a preposition with the noun in the accusative form as object of the preposition, but not always. It's actually typically another case. But in this sentence, it's a very clear, obvious translation as the object. All right. So this reminds us, tools are helpful, but sometimes the tools are wrong. And so you have to just be aware of that. And so what I would say is, in this case, if you don't see a preposition in the Greek, then it's likely, not there. You're likely dealing with a prepositional verb, that as far as English is concerned. Greek, it's not prepositional verb, it's simply a verb. Right. But in English, the translation comes across as a verb with a preposition at the end to convey the idea in English. All right?
Tim.
Yeah, Robbie.
Yeah. It's just strange, because when you look at the parsing of the word ta, it's an accusative. And so I don't know why they put off under it. at least in my NASB
I don't know.
interlinear.
Let me pop
It's
up
weird.
the ESV interlinear, see if it's the same issue. Let's do Romans 1:16. I think you guys can see this. Yeah, it's the same interlinear. So in this case, it's the Logos interlinear. I don't know which interlinear they use. Which what Bible software? You have Olive Tree?
I'm using Olive Tree.
So apparently, they're using the same kind of interlinear.
Yeah.
Let me pull up. Let's see. I forget which interlinears I have here. Gee, I need more translations here. I just don't have enough.
Boy, you have to teach us how to use Logos this way. I'm only stuck with one window and Logos. I'm more familiar with Olive Tree. Anyway.
That's the super advanced Taya course. Only a few are allowed in. That's the holy of holies of Taya. Let's see. New.
That's what we need. Yeah, that's what we need to pay $2,500 for.
That's right.
Only the senior pastor comes in, right?
That's right. Once a year.
Once a year.
Okay. Yeah. Now notice this interlinear from Logos. It's a separate interlinear. I don't know if you can see that. The font's pretty small, but can you see there's ashamed of? That's how they translate it. The literal translation in this interlinear, and then the glad tidings. So this interlinear is more correct, and as that goes. But I've really found the Bible Hub interlinear to be a good resource as well. So I think you guys, for the most part, should have confidence in that. Worst case, look at it and see, is there a Greek preposition there? Okay. That will be something that will give you a clue. If you don't see a Greek preposition there, then it's likely a prepositional verb. Okay. All right. Okay, great questions. Okay. Any more questions before we keep going, or we okay?
Yeah.
Okay. Let me pick up. Let's see. Okay, I listened to the sermon. Again, in these cases, if we only had if we didn't include the prepositional verb within the preposition within the verb, it would be this idea: he prayed the decision, or I listened the sermon. Okay. In English, that's not a complete idea. All right. So we have the idiom, he prayed about the decision, I listened to the sermon. So these prepositional verbs, again, I listen does state an action, but it's an incomplete thought. So I listened to, with the object, the sermon, gives the full thought. Okay. So let me do this. Let me just have you guys okay, I've already said that. We'll do a few examples together. I'll just have you guys identify for me the subject, the verb, and the object in each of these sentences. And the hint here is, guys, these will have prepositional verbs. So I'm just trying to show you some different examples from that. Yeah, Robbie?
We can't see your notes.
Oh,
it's still on Logos.
Sorry about that. Boy, I'm doing well tonight, huh? Maybe I shouldn't.
Must be the outfit.
That's right. The barong's throwing me off. I'm usually dressed like a slob, so I'll have to, accidentally lose these videos, I guess, for this session. Okay, Jason, just identify for us the subject, verb, and object in this sentence.
She suffered from a virus. She is the subject. Verb is suffered from.
Okay.
and the object virus or a virus.
Yeah, technically virus, right? But a is
Yeah.
modifying virus. So notice here the verb, and I'll just call it prepositional verb, suffered from. We wouldn't say she suffered a virus. In English, it's an idiom. She suffered from. And suffered from together gives the verbal idea. All right. Jason, why don't you take on one more here?
We agreed upon the terms. Subject is we. And then the prepositional verb is agreed upon. And then the object is terms.
Okay. And I'm including the article just for the sake of. Okay. So again, notice agreed upon is the English way to present the verbal idea. So upon is a preposition. We wouldn't say we agreed the terms. We agreed upon the terms. And upon the terms isn't a prep phrase modifying agreed. It's agreed upon is the verb. Suffered from is the verb. Now in Greek, you would not see suffered from. You would just see the Greek verb, which we would translate as suffered from. Okay? All right. Manny. Just want to make sure you're with us, brother. You want to do a couple of these for us? Subject, verb, and object?
Yes, Pastor.
Thank you. Good morning.
But I would like to ask about suicide.
I'm sorry, ask about what?
The subject. I would rather ask about suicide, Pastor Tim.
Oh, you want to go back to that topic? Oh boy. Well, I enjoyed our discussion. I thought it was really helpful. So, but we're going to talk about prepositional verbs today, brother.
The subject is they, and the prepositional verb is laugh at. Object, the joke.
Yeah. Again, the verb they laughed the joke doesn't convey the full idea. So laughed at is the full verbal idea. I'll give you one more, Manny.
He longs for acceptance. The subject is he. The prepositional verb is longs for. And the object is acceptance.
Very good. Okay.
Tim?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm thinking of it more now in terms of English grammar. When the structure is SVO, one of the ways I would identify that a verb is a prepositional verb is by really asking the question. I wouldn't ask, for example, what did he long? I would ask, what did he long for? What did they laugh at? I would not ask, what did they laugh? Or what did we agree is wrong. I would ask, what did we agree upon?
Yeah.
So
exactly.
that when I do that, automatically, right after the verb, there needs to be a proper preposition. I wouldn't ask, what did she suffer? But I would ask rather, what did she suffer from? So automatically, the preposition, there is a needed proper preposition for that particular verb.
Yes. And again, this is just an English thing. There's just some verbs and the way they're expressed that English demands a preposition to complete the verbal idea. Again, we won't see these in Greek.
Right.
And I think probably many other languages, I would imagine. It's just sort of a thing to be aware of in English. Okay. But yeah, you're exactly right, Robbie. That's a good way to look at it.
Yeah, and it only applies, I think, when the structure in English is an SVO structure.
Yes.
So it might be helpful.
Yeah. Yeah, I think so. That's we'll look at
Thank you, Pastor Robbie.
we'll look at some passages in a minute, and we'll kind of test that out and see if that's how they work. But I think you're exactly right. Renee, let me give you a few to do here.
Yes, Pastor Tim.
Good morning.
Good morning. Did you send to this? Did you consent to this? Uh, 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 you, subject is you.
Yep. Good.
Consent to is prepositional verb. And uh, to this, uh, this,
Just this. Yeah.
yes, this.
Good. Yeah. Very good. All right. This is the object in that case. All right. Let's do another one here. Have you do another one, Renee?
Okay. Subject is I. Prepositional verb is insist on, and object is results.
Okay. Again, we wouldn't say, I insist. What do I insist? Now, someone could say this. This would be a different form. I insist that you do the job. Okay. Now, in this case, it's not insist that. That's not the verb here. In this case, that you do the job is the full object. What do I insist? That you do the job. But this is where you can see it's kind of it's an idiom. It's not literally, if you take the word insist and the word on, if you took those literally, it doesn't mean that. It's not like, I don't even know how you'd have that concept of it being on top of something. That's not what he's saying. So that's why it's called an idiom. It's insist on. It's just the way English developed in some of the particular words. So in this case, I insist on is my verb. But in this case, it's just the word insist. That's the verb. Because that is something different now. That's a direct object marker. It's introducing the direct object, which is what do I insist? Okay, so just like Robbie said a minute ago, what do I insist? Okay, that you do the job. Okay, that's the object. Up here, okay, I have to ask the question, what do I insist on? And its results. All right, so just the nuances, the idiosyncrasies of English in this case. The verb insist depends what you're adding to it that'll tell you. Yeah, Robbie.
Tim, in this last sentence, I insist that you do the job. Again, the clue, I think, is that the word that is not a preposition. So
yeah,
obviously it's not a prepositional verb. Insist is not connected to a preposition. So it's not going to be a prepositional verb, right?
Yes, exactly.
Whereas when it's followed by a preposition, that's when I would do this check. If it's an SVO structure, by asking the question, like I would not ask, what do I insist?
Yeah. Yeah, you'd ask this question. What do I insist on?
Right.
Yeah, I think that's a
so
helpful.
It's really the preposition, yeah.
Helpful way to think about it. Yeah. Yeah, the existence of the preposition. That's when you're going to ask.
Mm.
Here, the word that, if you'll remember, guys, that can function like a relative pronoun,
Yeah, right.
or let me do this. Can function like a subordinating conjunction. It can function as a demonstrative pronoun. I didn't say that. It can function as a, I call it a direct object marker
Mm.
that introduces a direct object.
Mm.
Like, for example, she said that she would be late.
Mhm.
Okay, it's introducing the object of said, which is that she would be late. Just like up here, I insist that you do the job. This whole thing is the object. It's the what's sort of receiving the action or participating in the action. Okay, so to speak. So the word that in English is I call it a chameleon because it can change and function in so many different ways. So it can cause problems.
Mm.
There's one more way that it functions, but I can't remember it off the top of my head. But yes, Robbie, you're right. In none of these cases, that does not function like a preposition. So we don't have to worry about it in that way. It's regarding prepositional verbs. So great observation. All right. Harris, let me give you a couple.
Subject, gift, sorting.
Okay.
And the verb is came with object batteries.
All right. Now you could say the gift came, but is that the full idea that's being conveyed here? It's not saying the gift
No.
came to me. It's saying how, the gift came with batteries. So came with is the verbal idea in this case. It's not describing that the gift has arrived, that it came, but it's describing something about the gift. So yeah, you might ask, what did the gift, and you wouldn't say come, you would say, when did the gift come if you were asking that? But this sentence tells us, what did the gift come with?
With.
Okay. So that's a way to sort of think about how this sentence is working. Okay, Harris, let me give you another one here. This one, a little twist to it.
Who is the object?
Who is the what?
Subject.
Okay. All right. You're saying that? Who is the subject?
Yeah. A verb is does. Object is this, or the other way around. This is the subject.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, I did. I was
Who is
tricky.
the object?
All right. Whenever you have a question, you want to think of and put it in reverse. This book belongs to whom?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That was not nice. That was a little tricky. But you can see belong to is the prepositional verb in this case. Harris, I'll give you one more because you're my engineer buddy. I don't want you to feel bad. Okay.
Subject is they. Verb is don't have enough. don't have enough to.
Actually, I was not nice to you on this one either. This is a hard one. You can do it, man. You're my fellow engineer. All right, show these guys.
Verb is don't have enough to live on.
All right, now we've got a problem here. Notice you've got to and on going. What's going on here, man? Can you have two prepositions? And you've got have enough and live. Is have enough live a verbal idea, or are those two separate verbs?
Two separate verbs.
Yeah. Yeah, I was kind of mean on this one. Notice what's going on here. Technically, the sentence subject, verb, and verb is don't have enough. The object is to live on.
To live on.
Okay, I threw in an infinitive there.
Right.
Now, if you remember, infinitives can function like an adverb, an adjective, or a noun. And when they function like a noun, they can be a subject or object. In this case, to live on is the object. All right, so that's the one twisty that I threw at you. It's actually an infinitive functioning as an object. The second twist is, notice that preposition on. This verb in the so right, the infinitive is equals to plus a verb, right? And in this case, it's to, and then plus live on is my verb. And that verb is a prepositional verb. That's part of the infinitive.
Right.
So this is kind of one of those, strange English things where you actually have two infinitives, two prepositions within an infinitive. One of them is the to that introduces the infinitive. Live on is the part of the verb. Live on.
Yeah, that's because, Tim, if I may say, that's because it's an idiom in itself. That's why. In fact, when you ask this question, you don't. I would ask it because it's an SVO. What don't they have enough of? If I were to ask a question, right?
Yeah. And even too, in English, you wouldn't say, you could say this. You could say, if you, here, let's do this just to keep it distinct. You could say they don't have enough to live. That's another way that we would say it in English. But to live on implies the idea of they don't have enough money to earn a living. If I just say to live, that actually might mean something else.
It changes the meaning, yeah.
So live on, is an idiom, and it's an idiom in English that describes, the means to household income, to be able to eat and have clothing and such. So I just wanted to show you kind of how this can get pretty there can be some pretty interesting situations here with prepositions. So in this case, we have an infinitive, which also carries with it a prepositional verb as the verb in the infinitive. So in this case, it's really to plus a prepositional verb. Okay, again, idiom in English. That's just live on is a functions that way. Okay. Any other question? Tabs, we're being grammar bullied. What do you mean by that? Am I being too mean? At least too complicated? But I should have said at the beginning today, you know, you're going to need to put on your big boy pants, big boy English grammar pants today, because we're going to deal with something. Honestly, I don't know. Like I said, these kinds of verbs had not, they escaped my attention until I had been preparing for this. So, but like I said, we're going to look there. You'll find them actually in several passages. Let's look at a few here.
Yeah.
So you can see I'm not just doing this for the sake of an English exercise. Of course, we've already seen in this passage, this sort of introduced us to this whole wretched concept of prepositional verbs, but I'm not ashamed of the gospel. Okay. The object here is the gospel. Maybe I should do that in green, and I'll do the prepositional verb. I'll underline it. Okay. All right. Tab, since you're, you know, making snide remarks over there, I'm going to give you Romans 2:17. All right. I want you to find the prepositional verb and then the object.
Okay, Master. Romans 2:17. But if you bear the name Jew and rely upon the law and boast in God. Okay, if you bear the name Jew, I think the prepositions there are if, and then the prepositional verb if you bear.
Okay. If you bear the name Jew. Now notice we've got a noun in here. You bear. There's no preposition in. If is not a preposition. If you remember, that's introduces a condition.
Okay, Master.
So look through there. Just find where are the prepositions first. You can do that, right? Just tell me where the prepositions are.
Upon
Yeah, we got upon
and in.
and in. Okay. So as we look at this, if you bear the name Jew and rely upon the law and boast in God. So we have a couple candidates here, right?
Yes, Master. I think the prepositional verb is rely upon.
Okay, we have this as one possibility. We have rely upon, and then we have boast in as another potential. Okay. So if it's rely upon, then the subject would be the law, and if it's boast in, then God would be the. So, question is, okay, how do we determine, is this just an English idiom, or is there actually a preposition in the original Greek? All right, which are we dealing with here? So what I would do is just go to, this time I'm going to try to go to my Logos here, and I'm going to increase there. And I'm going to take you to Romans 2:17. All right. So, can you guys see this all right? Maybe I'll pop it up one. Okay. So the Greek is at the top. The English, which this is an older interlinear, so it's older English here. Okay. So here's you, a Jew, are named as the verb. And in this case, it says restest. Rest. Maybe I should just use the Bible Hub. Yeah, let's do that. This is too old English.
More bullying.
More bullying. Yeah. I'm just nervous to use the internet because I had trouble, or the Wi-Fi was okay. Romans 2. All right. Now, yeah, this is a little easier than more modernized English. Okay, so let me flip over to the interlinear. Here we go. Okay, hopefully you guys can see this. Okay, but if you, a Jew, are called, so there's the verb, and notice here's a verb, and then the law. Now notice, rely on. So there's no preposition here before the law. And notice the interlinear does give the English idiom translation rely on or rely upon. It's the same idea. Okay, but notice in the next clause, boast, and then, look, in the Greek, there is a preposition. Okay, so, so that's just something that, you know, again, the interlinear will help us a little bit to see what's going on. Now, hopefully this isn't making things more confusing for you, but that's the problem we were dealing with English. We've got these prepositional verbs that sometimes that is how a verb is translated. Other times, like boast in God, there is actually a preposition there. So taking that information from the interlinear, we'll go back to the notes and clarify that.
Tim,
Yeah.
can I may I ask a question? I think this is my initial test to find a prepositional verb is to again ask it in question form. It's wrong to ask what do you rely. You have to ask what do you rely upon, or what do you boast in. You don't say what do you boast. So immediately I would think that this is a prepositional verb, rely upon and boast in.
Yes.
But looking at the interlinear, is this where this simple test fails when it comes to boast in? Because now in the Greek there's a preposition there.
Yeah, and that's unfortunately, you know, it's like some of the other things when we look at an English translation and the translation has, you know, a participle, and we have to go, so we still need to go to the interlinear and confirm, is the verb actually a participle or is it just a regular verb?
Right.
And it's going to be the same deal here. You're going to have to go to the interlinear and see, okay, is this just a prepositional verb, or is there actually a preposition in the Greek?
So in this case, how do you treat boast in?
Yeah, so
if you're looking,
go ahead. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, that was a question really. Is it a prepositional verb, boast in?
No, in this case, then it is okay. If you bear the name Jew and rely upon the law and boast, and then here in this case,
I'll fix it later.
No, it's okay. It's okay.
that's what you have to do with it, technically, because